Okay.
All right. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Michelle for Casa Elm and Hacienda Elm in San Miguel de Allende. Super excited to have these three amazing ladies on to talk about our Black History Month event. We've been planning to get together so we can just do a real quick recap and just kind of go through some things. The reason I feel it's important to share this is just, 5 years ago, we did not have this in San Miguel, and to have it now is just a testimony of the growth, number one, but just, listen, good music, like really, really good music. So if you haven't caught some of the clips and reels and videos and stuff, you can find those. I'll add them to a few of them to the description box so you can see what I'm talking about. But it was just such a beautiful time where we were able to bring so many different people from the San Miguel community, and even other places in Mexico, from other places in the US, into one space and just have an amazing day with good vibes, good music, and good food, great vendors, and all the things. So these three ladies were such a huge part of making that happen. And so we wanted to recap it for the audience and just kind of share the experience with you and just the vibe that we all poured in, including not just the three of them, myself, but everyone that participated. Thank you to all the volunteers, to all of the vendors, the musicians, the lady who donated the space. Gosh, what's her name again? I forgot.
Nancy?
Nancy, that's right. Nancy, she owns Geek and Coffee. So if you're ever here, make sure you check that out. That's at the Bodega Aurora. And no, the Bodega Fabrica Aurora. She has a really cool outdoor space, but cafe and all this other stuff that you can enjoy all year round. But she lets us basically set up camp and shop there for a whole day and do our thing. And it was just a beautiful event. So without getting too much deeper into that, I want to introduce Danielle. I'm going to start with you because you're at my top left. Please feel free to let us know a little bit about yourself.
All right. Everybody.
The audio is a little bit low.
Uh-oh. Wasn't that? Let me get closer. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Better? Okay. Everybody, I'm Danielle Simmons. I am an artist here in San Miguel de Allende. I'm a singer. I'm also an entrepreneur. I own an online business marketplace called Afrodega, which provides just the creature comforts from home, from the United States, for people of color here in San Miguel. So anything from Lowry seasoning salt to, black eyed peas to Jiffy cornbread, just different things like that. I have on my website, and those things we deliver them to your home. And this is my second year just producing this festival here in San Miguel with Jackie and with Brianna, my other producing counterpart. So yeah, I do pretty much a lot of things with the festival. So I perform in the festival and help plan the festival and help execute the festival also. So, yeah.
Exactly. Amazing. And sorry, I didn't mention the foundation. It's Soul Fusion, and it's associated with WISE, and Jackie's going to tell us a little bit more about that. So you're up next.
Okay. Well, just happy to be here and relive the wonderful moment with all of you. So I'm Jackie Bouvier Copeland, and I am a longtime human rights activist, social change artist working mostly in Africa and the African diaspora, cultural anthropologist by training. And 5 years ago, I started a foundation called the Women Invested to Save Earth Fund. And it includes a program called Music for Change. And it's like it was ordained by the creator in 2021. We actually changed the name of the Music for Change program to Soul Fusion. And the idea is to preserve and advance Afroculture, including music and the arts across the world. And then I moved to San Miguel, and I ended up meeting these wonderful collaborators here. We wanted to, I also lived part of the year in Brazil and the US, but I'm revisiting that. And so we basically wanted to bring our culture to San Miguel. We're all community builders in some way, and we have a distinct culture. I have the foundation, which is a nonprofit headquartered in the U.S., but we work worldwide. And we wanted to, the whole world loves our music and our culture. We wanted to have an opportunity to present it ourselves. And so Danielle and Steffi Lauren, who is another musical artist here, and I co-founded the Mexico or San Miguel program for Soul Fusion, which has been doing, I think this is the second year of Black History Month Festival, but Danielle, correct me, it's the third or fourth year of doing some kind of annual festival, because at first we were doing it in June for Black Music Month, if my memory serves me correctly. Okay. And so then another convergence is an actual professional in the music tour industry in Brianna Stewart. I think Brianna, you came here about a couple years ago, or maybe a year ago. And so she joined us, and we just have a bunch of collaborators, and just really proud of everybody involved. And it really does feel like a global family reunion.
It is. Barbecue.
Yep.
Thank you. Go ahead, Brianna. You're up next.
Hello, hello. I am Brianna Stewart. As Jackie, Michelle, and Danielle have all mentioned, I am also one of the co-collaborators here with the festival. I originally came to San Miguel in 2022. And then I was gone for about a year and a half or almost 2 years, because I was on tour. So professionally, I work in the event space, mainly, or lately has been more so in the music side, but between music and hospitality. So I do tour and production management. I've worked with festivals across the US, and I have toured with music artists in the States and in Canada. And so that is kind of where my expertise comes in with the planning side of this Black History Month festival, because I just have that little touch, I guess you could say, that helps support artists, when they are sharing their gift with the world. And then the whole event, the event as a whole, again, is just also kind of the hospitality twist. So yeah, I enjoy. I'm so glad that they have invited me to bring my talents to support them in their work with this Black History Month festival this year. I would say we more than doubled what our turnout was even last year. And it's just a really beautiful thing to see, because we as Black women, Black people, we know that Black people come in all shades and sizes, and we're everywhere. We are all over the world. But unfortunately, that is something that some people around the world are still learning. So to see us be able to bring it here and see it be received so well, it's just a really beautiful thing. And I am happy to be a part.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So, yes, it's been 4 actual Black music / Black History Month events. So I can't believe that amount of time has already passed. I
That's
remember
right.
the first time that you all were putting this all together. That also came with an amazing turnout. I think even then it was a bit of a surprise, right? But it went down really well. People loved the music. But the core individuals have been Jackie, Danielle, and Steffi, and now we're adding Brianna into the mix, and just like the different people that are coming out to not just support but to be a part of it. And it's just such a beautiful thing. And this year was really amazing to see how much talent there was right out there, how many more people are coming here that know how to really sing. Okay, because I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about that, okay, because I've been here for a long time. And back in the day, when I first got here, I was always very like, oh my gosh, they're having a Motown review or tribute, not a review, a tribute. I'm going to go to the Angela Peralta Theater and I'm going to check it out. Now, I'm not knocking those folks. However, but I remember going and just like, as a Black person, growing up with musically talented folks around us, hearing the music that we hear, going to church and you can hear like a good beat and whatever. Of course, we're going to be more critical, right? We're more critical of how things sound. So I remember going in these, large spaces where everything's kind of echoing about and all the things. And I'm like, that's a little off, or that's doesn't quite sound that way. But I appreciated that our music was still being honored in this space here in San Miguel. And that's one of the things that I've always said is it's such a creative, artistic town that people who have, their passion about the song or the type of music or the type of art, they just put themselves out there, and now for us to be able to fill those spaces as well with, good music and excellent talent is just such a blessing. So I just want to say thank you all for bringing that flavor, bringing that Lowry seasoning that we needed. Thank you. That's right. So one of the questions I think is, for me, would be when you started, and I know I was part of the journey, but just to share with the audience, like what did you find like a challenge? I don't know, anyone who wants to, maybe it's Danielle, like what were some of the challenges? Because I know what kind of led you to basically now doing this on your own, because I know you were performing, and also Jackie, both of you were performing for other people. Talk about that.
I'll
Why don't you first?
Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, I'll speak for myself. When I first got to San Miguel, the reason why we chose San Miguel,
Come a little closer.
one of the reasons why I chose San Miguel was because of, the big art scene. Like you said, there's always something going on there. I had looked it up online and saw that they had, a jazz festival, and they had, just many, concerts happening all the time. So one of the first things that I did was I aligned with one of those organizations, because, I wanted to be involved in the music scene. And, like you said, there's a lot of tributes and there's a lot of different things that are available here that represent our music. So there's a lot of, tributes to Stevie Wonder, Aretha Franklin, and different things like that. And I participated in one of those things. But I will say that I think my very first concert with that organization was sold out. But moving forward, it seemed as though the organizations didn't really, if I'm being frank, they didn't pay us. They wanted us to perform. And they weren't not paying the band, and they weren't not paying out certain performers, but they did not want to pay us. And we are the face and really the actual authentic culture for that music and for those genres. So that was really disheartening. And that's actually how me and Jackie actually really connected and started talking about soul fusion, and what we wanted to do and what um, we wanted to provide an outlet for other Black performers who would come to town or who were in town, to be able to have a platform, to perform our music, in a way that wasn't exploitive. So really that's how we got started, and that's really what we did. Our very first concert that we did was Juneteenth, 2023.
Right.
All Black performers who lived in San Miguel. And when we say Black, we mean all of that, and not just Afro-American, but Steffi Lauren is Afro-Colombian. So really any musician that represents the diaspora, we wanted to provide a platform for. So that's really how everything got started.
Yeah, and it's just really interesting to me, spiritually, because where I was is that I had just done my very first album, and I think it came out in 2022, and I moved to San Miguel soon after the album came out, right? And I had been singing all my life, but just through serendipity, there were some opportunities to do this first album with some backing of really veteran performers. But I've been a cultural advocate and anthropologist, my gosh, for 45 years now. And so I think when I met Danielle, it was at one of the Black SMA monthly luncheons. And it was her husband who said, "Oh, yeah, Danielle sings too." And I mean, that's one of the beautiful things about Michelle, I think, overall, that Michelle alluded to. There are all these creative, artistic people, the Mexicans themselves, but also people from across the world. And yeah, Danielle and I ended up performing with one of these organizations that she alluded to, and discovered that we were the only non-paid ones. And one of my sort of platforms of life is cultural equity and economic justice for women, Afro people, and everybody else. And so just that whole tradition of our culture sometimes being straight up appropriated and are not even getting credit for it, let alone compensation. And so I don't complain a lot about that. I take note, and then I'm open to build with others. And so that was the shared genesis, is having a platform, not just to perform, but I think for mutual support, because each of us have a solo practice and other things that we do as relative newcomers to the region. And then I should say that WISE, to the extent that we have the funding, we're trying to do this work, similar work across the world, really supporting Afro innovators, I'll just say, not just in the arts, but in social change and climate change. And so the whole idea is, how can we use our time, talent, and treasure together to uplift our community? But I also think, in my experience in Mexico and other countries, is that people love it when the descendants of these music traditions bring their take to the music. So I think there's a built-in audience for the Black or Afro diaspora to present their creativity, certainly here in Mexico, but also from the WISE global perspective across the world.
Absolutely.
I would say, oh, go ahead, Michelle.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Kind of to piggyback off of that, I would say I'm not a performer, but
But you
even
sang.
just witnessing, even just witnessing, um, witnessing in other respects, like how we as a people are received, especially when you step outside of America, because you know your experience in America as a Black person is one thing, but when you do begin to travel and like truly travel, you know, travel, immerse yourself in cultures and things like that, when you can see the crossover, if you will, or what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, the crossover, if you
Yeah,
will, or like, you know,
integration.
how, yeah, how we are connected, um, to see how interconnected we are and then still have experiences where how Jackie and Danielle were saying, like, for whatever reason, there's still some exploitive practices that go on against us. Um, but then again, to be in spaces where you see just again how receptive people are to our music, to our food, to our culture, everything. I remember my very first Thanksgiving here in San Miguel was with with Michelle at Casa Elm, and I had brought some of my local friends. They had never had oxtail before. Never didn't know about it. Like never had like did not know about it. Didn't know what mac and cheese was. Like the whole soul food platter. They were just like taken aback. And they loved it. And so much so that like I spent Christmas with them and they asked me to like bring a platter because they're like, "Can you make that meat again?" Like that was really good. And yeah, again, that just goes to show how much our culture is desired, or like how much people they do appreciate it. But for whatever reason, we're not in the spaces to not take advantage, but to be able to share ourselves with the world. Um, and so yeah, it's a very interesting like dynamic just to see how interconnected we are, yet how much further we still have to go to be able to share our culture with the world, and because it's not that it's not appreciated, it's fully appreciated, it's fully acknowledged, it's fully the awareness is there, but there are places in the world where people genuinely have not seen, they haven't seen Black people actually outside of like their TV screen. They haven't seen Black people in the flesh bring those gifts into their spaces. And I think that's kind of what makes it special for us to be able to do that here in San Miguel, because yeah, there are some people here who have never seen, and they might have seen a darker skinned Mexican, and to them they're thinking, oh, that's just a Mexican, but it could be an Afro Mexican. And then now they see our growing community here, and I think again we're witnessing it in real time how much people would like to be a part of it, in an appreciative way as opposed to appropriating it.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I
Yeah,
agree.
that real quick because I
Hmm.
think that's fairly important. That often folks from the U.S. have no idea where the music love comes from, some level. The same.
Your audio is a little.
Oh,
Okay, that's good. I think leaning
that's good.
forward.
Oh,
Go
yeah. I
ahead.
put on my silly voice.
Okay, good.
So yeah, I sometimes in the U.S. people have no clue where the blues came from, or where rock came from, or where reggae came from. They just nobody educates them about that. So our performances in some way are like a living testimony to the roots of that music. So wise, we're working on a curriculum that would just break down all of that this the history origin of salsa, samba, um, a lot of the music throughout the Americas, and people don't know where it comes from. So our artists are our living testimony of our music roots, really not for me, but frankly for the whole U.S. North America that sit for granted no clue because nobody really taught them.
I agree with all of that. As I said, when I came here, there were not a lot of us in general, and you know, people are really creative here in general. They are singing everything. You know, you hear a lot of Motown, you hear country, rock and roll, all the things. So I think people are just, here's my talent, here's what I like, I'm just going to put it out there. Yes, it's not overly representative in terms of, you know, with the soul, I think that we bring to our, you know, the performances that we're putting out there. And that's the difference in regard to the experiences for myself, especially because, as I said, I would go out and I would be like, oh, okay, can't wait to go hear this, and this. And it wasn't, you know, it wasn't that it was bad per se, it was just not what I was used to, you know? So being able to experience it in a way that, oh, okay, here we are, right? And it feels extremely ethnic and it feels authentic, and, you know, it just sounds amazing and all the things. And that in itself brings the vibe, right? And the energy to the whole space. And when I say the whole space, everyone in the space, and the experience that all of us are having together collectively is so different than someone doing a tribute, and it just doesn't have the same vibe and the same flair. And that's why for myself it's so touching and so moving to be here and to see that happening, and also to have other people really appreciate it. I think the challenge that you all found in 2023 is probably just that lack of collaborating with the right kind of mindset, you know what I'm saying? And that's okay, because if you didn't have that challenge, you probably would be doing things differently. And I think the way you're doing things right now is really representative of what needs to happen, in my opinion. I really think sometimes when it's not there, right, they say if it's not there, you build it and the people will come. And you saw that in year one, you saw it in year two, and it's grown ever since. You know, I know you did the 2023 and then the Music Month, and then also 2 Black History Months last year and this year. And it's just gotten better and better. More people want to participate. I absolutely loved Zero's performance. She's Mexicana. And I met her years ago on the street with her father, and I didn't know she could sing. I had no idea she could sing. And I haven't seen her that much around, but it was just such a beautiful mix of individuals from various places in the diaspora that we were able to really come together, and the community as a whole came together, and it was a vibe. It really was a vibe. And I'm just super excited about the next upcoming, whatever you are doing. I think you should do it more than once a year. Just saying. Go ahead. Were you saying something, Jackie?
No, I just thought that was really funny. I was trying to
No, I'm serious.
once a year, but I know that's probably some for what the future
Exactly.
about.
Your audio is going out a little.
Yeah, I said building on the success so far, there are probably some different ideas about the next step.
Mm-hmm.
For the
Okay. Okay, so what do you feel is potentially your bigger vision for the event for next year? Do you feel that you would, I love Geek and Coffee. Just saying, it was really, I don't know, it just felt very cozy this year. Last year it felt like, actually last year felt great too. I feel like all of the events, this year just felt cozier for some reason, I guess because there were more people, more vendors. By the way, I will talk a little bit about that. We had all sorts of vendors, so you can give us more details, but it was just a beautiful mix. And the vendors are, again, from all walks of life, all races. So this isn't just, for only Black people. We had a lot of really amazing vendors selling art, clothing, food, books, things for kids. So it was just really beautiful. So tell us a little bit about how you, envision the future for Black history here in San Miguel.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's a loaded question.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's a loaded question. So I think that we're very intentional with the artists, from everything from the artists to the vendors. I think that I would say that for next year, I know that we're going to be definitely more intentional in terms of vendor selection and in terms of just how the vendors are able to access the festival. I'll say that. I think that everybody was great this past year in terms of performance and vendors. Same for the year before, prior. I think that we are always trying to expand. I think that not last year. Well, yeah, last year's festival, we had representation from Dominican Republic, Cuba, Mexico, Colombia, and the United States. And this year we had Colombia, Mexico, Cuba, and we also had Africa, like the continent of Benin. There was a lady who who's along with drummer who opened.
It's cutting out a little bit.
Really, I think it was important to me. Uh,
It's cutting out a little bit.
Breaking up
a little, yeah.
Okay. Just the African drummers was really important because I experienced them early last, and I really, really wanted them to come to the festival because I felt like it was opening the festival to start like on the the motherland and kind of branch out into all of the so I think that it's just more of that. I would love to see, more representation from more places across the diaspora, both the performances and leaders that we have represented the festival. I would love to more things for children. Love to see more.
It's still cutting out a little bit.
Oh no.
Not sure.
Okay. Right up on my face. Hopefully we don't cut out. I know that there's sound also by a big street, but I think that they have more things for.
Yeah, it's like every other word is kind of skipping.
Okay.
Is it everyone else hearing it the same? Oh, okay.
Yes, I can't. I mean, I can't. I hear like every third word.
Okay, she's coming back.
Yeah. So while she's there, I can add my
Sure.
piece to it, and then she'll come back soon. So for me, I'm looking certainly San Miguel, but the WISE Fund has a global mandate, and so we're doing some work to supporting comparable kinds of activities in different countries, African and African diaspora countries. For San Miguel, I think largely more of the same. I think a big question will be how to grow. I mean, should there be more locations in Mexico itself? Should the actual festival be the entire day as opposed to 5 hours in a day?
Oh, yeah.
I think we could very soon in the next couple of years, it would be nice to outgrow Geek and Coffee. I don't know where the next place would be. And I love the collaboration with Nancy. but I think those are the kinds of issues we have to think about. Because we have this global mandate, my bandwidth is limited. I've moved, well, this year I was less of like hands-on producer and more of an executive producer, funding and that type of thing. And so I think we'll need to think about our capacity to handle bigger or more frequent events with, just and not stretch ourselves too thin. So those are all good challenges to have, because that means we have something valuable and there's a demand for it. But I think it's probably going to be time for us to sit down and be somewhat planful and strategic about what the next steps are in San Miguel and Mexico writ large.
That makes sense. I definitely see it growing and expanding, especially here in San Miguel. There were so many people that came over to my table and they were like, I did not know about this. And, especially locals. I think that the locals who made it out through word of mouth or whatever, they really enjoyed themselves. Everyone enjoyed themselves, but just a lot of feedback from the locals were that they had no idea where did all these Black people come from and all the things.
Yeah.
Not in a negative way, but just honestly,
Right.
like, oh, one guy, he invited, I think like 12 of his friends and family when he heard about it that morning, Angela's neighbor. And he was so enthusiastic about the whole thing. And how come I never heard about this before? So we know we're doing our marketing and things like that, whether it's online. I know you guys were beating the streets with flyers and, just putting things in different places. But I do feel that, there's a lot more to cover. And yes, maybe eventually Geek and Coffee won't be big enough, because it was pretty snug this time.
Yeah.
It was snug. Yeah, it was very nice. The vendors and all the things that you all had. I personally loved the variety of what there was that was being offered. Loved the art. Loved the books. Loved the clothing. All the things. So I think, yes, expanding on the area for maybe the kids, where maybe the kids are a part of it somehow, I don't know. They're off kind of doing their thing or whatever. But overall, I feel that the presence of who we are as a people definitely was represented.
Yeah. And I want to give public credit, so to speak, to Danny, who I kind of named as the director this
Yes.
year. I don't know if I have that capacity, but I did it anyway, because there's only so much one person can do, and I'm working on all these other countries and on these different fronts. And then Danny and Brianna just, being hands-on. It's a lot of work to organize these kinds of events. And so I think it's a good division of labor, and we will probably need more help as we expand, for sure.
Absolutely. I have a question. Go ahead, Danielle.
Now, is it better?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. Yeah, for sure. I was just gonna say that yes, that will definitely, we need more people. We need more people, we need more help. I that there's a lot of things that, in terms of just like I won't say security, but what's the word? Like, I guess like management of like the people that were like flowing through, because yes, we did have so many people and we did have like double the amount of the year before, but there were still a lot of people who are just kind of wandering through Geek and Coffee and just through. So I think that there's definitely ways that we can
Get,
alleviate
get
their.
your coins.
Yeah,
That part.
exactly. No, 'cause like Jackie said, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of, a lot of work, a lot of manpower, also a lot of money that goes into, getting something like that up and running. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I love Geek and Coffee. I love the venue. I love Nancy. She's always so great, so accommodating. And I would love to continue using Geek and Coffee for as long as we can. But I do see us expanding also into larger venues, larger capacities, and also, like Jackie said, the whole day. I'm thinking maybe multi-days also, where we maybe have an educational component one day, maybe we have the festival component another day, and then something else another day, maybe at a different venue. So yeah, I think that it could definitely be something that could be multi-day. It could be maybe a movie screening one day, and then this day, it could be all kinds of things. I have all kinds of ideas for moving forward. But yeah, I know that it's only going to get better from here. So I think that it was an excellent turnout. It was an excellent just overall event. And I think that people felt the warmth, people felt what we were trying to bring. And they brought their good energy as well. And I think that it was just a really, really great time. So.
Absolutely. It was amazing. That's all I have to say. It was really just amazing, hands down. Definitely one of the best events that I've been to in San Miguel. I've attended a lot of events in the US, whether it was music related, reggae, you name it, art based, in different parts of the US. But to have like that, flow here, it was really, really done well. I mean, the other ones were amazing as well, but what I loved with this for me again was the singing, really having a more variety of artists. I love the drumming, the performances in this regard, and just, although I was really heads down in the food, I mean, like I realized after that I kind of missed quite a few things, but it was just really good, and then ended with the DJ and things like that. Everyone just had a great time. I had a few friends who had said to me, oh, okay, I'm leaving, da, da, da. And then like it was nighttime and they were still there. And I was just like, did they leave and come back? They were having such a good time. And, these are people that I've known, non-Blacks, for a while, and they were just having a good old time. Everyone was getting along really well, partying, dancing, trying to do the line dances and all of that. So it was really, it did feel like a block party. So I'm looking forward to the next one. But I wanted to ask Brianna a question, because I know that you work with artists in the US and things like that. What did you find maybe, not to say challenging, but a little bit different in terms of working there and here as a tour manager?
Honestly, I don't know that I find much of a difference, because with my role, I'm kind of the one like managing all the logistics.
Cracking the
So
whip.
like, for example, I would say like something in tour management again is like that without the artists, none of us have a job. So it's, I kind of treat this festival the same way. Without this festival, like I don't have anything to pour into my community. Well, I have things to pour into my community, but you know what I mean. And so like something small that I did that is normal in the touring world, you would typically like advance your hospitality needs. So all artists have, little little like pre-show remedies, or just, little things like somebody might like a cough drop beforehand, or somebody, like I have an artist who she likes gummy bears in her tea before, like a very specific amount of gummy bears in her tea before she goes on.
Interesting.
And it's just it's little things like that. Now again, we're, we still small and we're growing, and we would definitely grow to be that. But what I could offer this time was, blocking off a little area behind stage. This y'all green room. I made sure everybody had water. I bought the biggest bag of cough drops I could have, because everybody was, well, a large portion of the artists this year were singers. So, again, just being mindful of what they need to be able to share their gift in the best light that they could. But I think, again, because it is such an artist focused town, and there are so many musicians here, whether they are local to or native to San Miguel, or they are from other parts of the world, it is surprising to see the lack of spaces such as the one that we create. Again, just going back to, like, it's clear that people enjoy this, that people would like to see this more often. But it's pretty shocking to see that it doesn't exist. That it didn't exist already, considering this is, it isn't, music isn't art. So yeah, I would say, because of my role in this and in touring, I don't think there's too much of a difference there, because I'm kind of the one controlling the flow there.
You still have to crack the whip.
Yeah.
She's so nice about it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she was on it. I saw her buzzing around. She was definitely on it. So, go ahead.
Really everywhere. And she was like helping with every single thing. And she's like bilingual, so she was like on the phone with some people, like finding out where our narrator was, because
that's right.
not there when we were supposed to start. And I mean, she was literally she was what made everything happen. So yeah, I just want to publicly thank you and say, thank you for everything. She even was singing background, even though she was also
cracking the whip. That's right.
Yeah.
I saw you up there a bit. You were up there quite a bit.
Oh, she can sing. I didn't even know. A Renaissance woman. Yeah, I have a couple of. Go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, multi-talented. So it's not just, she's not just handling the everything with the artists and making sure the vendors where they were supposed to be and all that, but she was also, up on stage singing too, so it wouldn't happen if it wouldn't have been great as it was without.
Yep.
Thank you.
I wanted to just affirm everything that's been said, and just picking up on the issue of cultural representation. We actually have a straight up continental African community in San Miguel, or the greater San Miguel area. And we didn't really have that representation here, I don't think, this year. But it would be great to get some of them engaged to continue to walk that talk about cultural authenticity, even within the diversity of the Afro community. And it's just really something I think a lot about, is the lovely Mexican community here has a perception of what Black American music is. I'm just going to talk about Black American music for a minute. So I know I get asked, people want me to sing Motown. Now, as an artist, I don't necessarily want to sing Motown all the time. And I don't know if you get this, Danny, but people will often approach me with a list of songs they think I should sing, because that's what they know. So what I found really interesting, just looking at the Mexican audience at the festival, and even solo things I do, when they're presented with the breath of Afro music, they are receptive to it. And so there's a little bit of a literal song and figurative song and dance where you're, presenting who you are as an artist and trying to express your authentic self, because we all have multiple layers as human beings and people of the Afro diaspora. And so we're creating, I think, a little bit of a new perception of Afro music and maybe an appetite for it. And so I'm hoping that in 2-3 years' time, there will be more of an audience, for music that's just not, Motown or certain songs specifically that people will ask for that they happen to know, or Michael Jackson music, or only Stevie Wonder, etc. So I hope that I don't know if the term educating the audience, or just exposing them to the breadth of our culture. Mostly music right now, but maybe more in the future, because we have food and we had arts and crafts at the festival. So I do see that as a role, so that when Steffi, or when doing her like Afro-Colombian folk music, or I don't think people in the audience who were Mexican necessarily knew what neo soul was, or that those songs were part of that neo soul genre until, for example, maybe it was Danny who said it, or Jasmine. So that component is really important to me, and hopefully, we've kind of cultivated people's Black musical tastes a little bit through the festival.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've been asked to sing a list of songs before.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, when I first got here, and I was, trying to align with the organization that had already existed here. They wanted me. They had a list of songs, and can you do Billie Holiday, and can you do Ella Fitzgerald, and can you do this? And I was like, no. I can do, maybe one of those songs, but I have a list of songs that I, actually like, can you play this? Can you play that? So yeah, it was, there's there's a playlist that appeals to a certain demographic, that they like to repeat. And, yeah, I think it's definitely educating. Um, I think people that there's much more out there. There's a breadth of all different types of genres. And really, if, I have some songs that I create and they may sound country, that's Black music too. It doesn't matter. It really, but I think that, yeah, I think it's well received. I think that there are people who are familiar with neo soul. There are people who are locals who are familiar with neo soul. They're familiar with, I think a lot of different genres, but I just think that it hasn't been presented. And I think that is the that people are really receptive because it's something that they like, but they aren't presented with it often or ever. Um,
Yeah, and I think it's too what they're used to, hearing here, because San Miguel, again, is still a very small town. So, as I said, for me, being able to really bring not just one or two songs, but bring a whole ethnic event to the city was definitely something new. And as Brianna said earlier, it being an actual, like a festival, like a day festival. Yeah, I don't recall, and that was a good point. I don't recall really experiencing that in that setting. Usually it's in the theater or, in a restaurant or something like that. So that is definitely an area for expansion as well. Question, what did you all, well, I know that you've worked with maybe some of the same musicians, like how did you find that experience to be, like, in terms of, again, this is probably not necessarily new music, but, just kind of like, what did you find in terms of the talent to play the music that you needed them to play?
I was just thinking about that when we were talking about the other topics. So there's some excellent instrumentalists here for sure. The challenge that I find, because I sing and write multiple Afro genres, and this is true all over the world, not just here. Not every, a lot of instrumentalists are used to playing in one genre. And even for our music, kind of like the flavor or the cultural like style may be a bit different. So there is a level of guidance and education that they need that at some point we might provide. I'm not sure. I know that Danny and I have had some independent invention around that. Because sometimes it just takes some extra work for me. So it's hard for like somebody who, like if I'm singing a spiritual and then I want to do soul and then I want to do jazz, it's like they have cultural whiplash. It's like, what? You know what? Wait a minute. So,
I told you they just need some Lowrys.
Whereas in Brazil, where I've made a couple of albums, that's not an issue at all. They can switch back and forth between, the different Afro or Black genres of the world pretty easily. So that's been interesting, because then I've had to come up with a vocabulary in my broken Spanish often that really communicates what I'm trying to convey about those sometimes intangible aspects of just the musical language, so that it also translates well to the audience, which is Mexican and international here. So I'll just keep thinking about that, but that's a dynamic, excellent musicians, but different cultures and then different genres and associated subcultures of Black music as well. All need to be navigated.
That's interesting. Go ahead, Danielle.
Yeah, I was just gonna pick that. I think that some of the
it's still breaking up a little.
Oh, breaking up again.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Are you on your phone or is it your computer?
I'm on my phone.
Okay. Yeah, it's like a little static.
Yeah, I hear like every 2 words. I can't really make out what you're really saying.
And now it's frozen a little. Oh.
Okay.
I think it's the internet connection.
Probably.
Is it my internet?
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so. Because you froze just now too. Your video.
Yeah, can you hear us okay? Oh, okay. Not sure.
I would say, I'm not part of the process of like selecting the musicians. Love the ones from this year though. Gotta bring that back. But I would say just my observation of musicians around is that the ones who are from the bigger city, whether that be Querétaro or Mexico City, are typically more versed in the styles that they are able to either like readily pick up on. Like they may not know it and they may not play it normally, but they're able to more readily pick up on it rather than a lot of the musicians I have personally met here, or just people that I met here who are in bands or whatever, again, they're not really familiar. Like I remember talking to a couple people, they had never heard of R&B music, which I thought was interesting because I'm like, there's still like there's like a Latin R&B like kind of that's emerged the last decade or so. But I again just shout out to the band we had this year. Sam specifically, he was the bass player. Even in like rehearsals and just like, I mean, you could probably see him in the background of any video that you have of of the artist, but he like thoroughly enjoyed that music. And there
Yeah.
was a moment where during the rehearsals, I think we just had a break during rehearsal and I was just talking to them. And I think two of them, I think it was Diego. Forgive me, I forgot one of their names. But
Carlos?
Carlos, yes. Diego and Carlos, they liked jazz, and Sam was saying that R&B was his favorite, which made a lot of sense when you just observed him playing. Like he was excited to play that D'Angelo. He was like he was yeah, he liked the R&B and neo soul. He was saying that. So but I'm not
Yeah.
surprised at that either, because again, there's places if you go to certain like bars and cafes around town here, if the owner is from Mexico City or if the staff is from Mexico City, it is not uncommon to just like randomly hear D'Angelo or have I heard Mary J. Blige? I think I've heard Mary J. Blige too. Like you will hear some things that you like. In America, sometimes you go into a place and you're like, are they playing that because I'm black? Like I just walked in here. But like it'll already be on when you walk into places here. So that's something that I would say I noticed with the musicians and just
Mhm.
like them picking up on Afro styles of music, of music. And they were
Yeah.
also very well versed, the band here. We talked a little bit about uh again just our favorite music, and I was saying I think they had asked me if I like salsa, and I had something that I didn't even realize I was able to pick up on was the nuance between Colombian salsa and some of the other Latin salsas. And the reason that I believe I prefer Colombian and Cuban salsa is it does have that Afro root to it, and it is
Oh,
very
definitely.
distinctive. You know, it's
Yeah.
very distinctive in the music. So,
Mhm.
Extremely.
and that was something that again we were just kind of able to talk about as music lovers or whatever. Me and the band, we just kind of had a little chat about that. But yeah, I think when you talk to people and they can also pick up on those nuances, I feel like that's when you know you're talking to a real musician or like somebody who really just loves music, because not everybody can pick up on those stylistic changes or nuances between genres and genres of different or in different countries.
Yeah. That they were fun to work with. In fact, we didn't get a chance to perform it because time went out. But Sam really into reggae, and I had a reggae version of Lenny Kravitz, "I Belong to You," and we were we were jamming that, and he was able to kind of move right to it. So that was fantastic.
So, a couple more questions. I don't want to hold you all forever. But one of my things right now, based on, the experiences that we've had and how much I think San Miguel can still grow in terms of our artistic, heritage, whether it be African art, the music, just the food, right? Because we still don't have these things, right? Not on an everyday, a normal basis. One of the things, at least for myself, is, having like a space that I can go to and enjoy this kind of music and this kind of experience on a weekend. Like I don't go out much because, not that, well, I will give San Miguel and Mexico this, is you can go to a lot of really cool restaurants, very beautiful rooftops, and they will be playing our music, mostly. If not some house music, techno or something like that, but they do play a lot of our music. But it's not a place where you're going to lounge and socialize and dance and things like that. What do you feel from just these experiences that you feel the city could really use? I know that's a loaded question, but I'm asking because I'm always trying to encourage people who have a talent, a love, a passion, just like, you know, yourself, Danielle, Jackie, Brianna, like, you know, like, don't be afraid to come here and build this. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you may not be able to see, and I'll give a good example. When I lived in Florida, I spent probably a good year and a half because I wanted to this was back in the days when food trucks were really popular, but I wanted to bring a twist of a food truck concept to South Florida. And I looked into it, I looked into the truck, I looked into spaces. I wanted to be kind of like this focus only on the history behind jerk food and like where jerk came from. And so, I mean, I did deep months, like a good 6 months of research. I found out that it was originally called Charky. It was spelled Q-U-E or Q-U-I. I had a logo created with the Q-U-I. The I was like a half-burnt matchstick, and I had like all the things, right? I went to places where they had space that I could do a restaurant, and it was just so costly for a new adventure, for a new venture concept for myself as a single person. And so I didn't pursue it. I did festivals instead. And those were fine. Those were great. I enjoyed, you know, what I did. And it was just a focus on jerk foods so it was, you know, the concept and idea of jerk foods, but that was it. I wasn't a Jamaican restaurant, but I was using where jerk came from and all of the things behind it. Here is just an easier road for people who are creative to come and bring their flair. So that's why I ask these questions, because I like to continuously encourage people to come and potentially bring, you know, their flair, their passion, their idea to the space, because we don't have a lot of things yet. I say yet because I do think there's a lot of room for us to open beautiful African art galleries, okay, hint, hint, and, you know, places that serve soul food and, you know, I'm speaking to myself on the Jamaican food and things like that, because we don't have those things. And people here are pretty well traveled, and I think for the most part, the majority of those individuals would really enjoy these offerings. So
that is something, I'm glad you asked it, because I think about it a lot. And I'm about to be 64 in a couple of weeks, and I've had a lot of businesses over the decades, and I've been thinking more about what my role is, given that this is a time in my life where I can lean into the creative, I'll just say artistic gifts that I have. Because I'm not necessarily running around running businesses of various sorts all over the world. So for me, I'm very interested in helping to curate, executive produce, even fund initiatives that are within the areas of focus for the WISE Fund. But I prefer to support and coach next generation leaders, so I don't lose my shot to keep doing my albums and traveling the world singing, because my trajectory was to always back burner that stuff, you know. And so I'm in more of a post-entrepreneurial phase. Trying to share lessons learned is one of the reasons I'm actually master certified business and executive coach for that reason. And so really interested in the plans and the strategies that others might come up with who are in a different life cycle and still are in like that startup mode. And I'm more about, at this point, supporting next generation leaders so that the legacy can continue in their own way with their own style. because there's just so many hours in a day, and I have some other work that I'm supposed to be doing right now. And so that means, the Briannas and the Michelles and supporting the
Danielle.
Dannies of the region, and not trying to do everything myself, and realizing that I'm doing similar work in Brazil and in Puerto Rico and in parts of the US. And so I've been doing a lot of reflecting and actually prayer about that. So I think that, if that's a seed of an idea that, Michelle, you're actually thinking about, then I think there's we have a bit of a collective here, I think. And sometimes it may be difficult to manifest some of these entrepreneurial dreams as a solo person, but maybe getting together. Like, I would love it if there were a club here, Afro SMA
That's
club,
that's why I said it.
a physical
Like,
space where
can y'all
even
get me out of
if
the house for a change?
even if they're like, well, we could call them Afro tapas or something,
Listen, I'll
and
provide the food and then I'll be on
yeah,
the dance floor. That
we have
part.
shows there because we don't have a space, and
I
that
know.
is a real deficit. And there are quite a few people, maybe two people, who I've talked to, and I don't want a space. The whole idea of doing that here, with what happens when you have a physical space in San Miguel and in Mexico, and certain complications that emerge, um, that's not part of my trajectory right now. But I do see that there's a need, and it's interesting. I mean, sometimes people here will say, and I wonder where Danny would have a lot to say about this. Um, there's a demand and an interest, but not necessarily. There's so much art here, like in the prime slots in San Miguel, there might be 10 different concerts happening at the same time. And so, sometimes the audience just does not materialize because there's so many different things to do. So maybe if it's a cooperative model and it's in part funded, by the community, and they get a cut of some of the profits because they're shareholders, we would have more built such an initiative would have more built-in audience. So, for somebody, and this is the time in their life to create something like that, I would certainly be supportive if it's a good business plan. Um, any way I could be, and I think there would be others too.
I think it could be a space that was definitely for multi-use. This way it's not only relying on, a lounge. It could be, daytime co-working. It could be a creative space. It could be a community space where we're giving back, and intentionally giving back to a local, group, whether it's teaching a language, whatever it is, money from whatever is made is a portion or a fraction of that money is going to help a local group of some sort. I think that this way it's probably a bit more sustainable and it has more of a purpose. And if it were just, like a start out, it could be a pop-up in different places. It doesn't necessarily have to be, this is the one space that we rented to start. Just like the event at Geek and Coffee is just this one day, but maybe with time there's a space that's solely for these things. And yes, there is also the concern of having a business and being in the public eye. So I get it. Yes, I get it. The subliminal message. Go ahead, Danielle.
Could maybe on
You're still, can't hear you.
that
It's
go on
even
mute.
worse. Mhm.
If you can hear me. If you go on mute.
Go on mute and see if we can hear her.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me without? Ah, is that it?
Yeah,
Is that
got you. I hear you now.
Okay, great. So I was gonna say, I think in terms of, yeah, I think a space would be amazing. I think that collaboration is definitely key. I think that if we could collaborate with, all of these creatives that we have here, all these people that are, doing excellent things in our community, that it could definitely happen. I actually was thinking about that this morning, if not yesterday morning, about just having a space to go to for an open mic, on a certain day, just having a place to be. I think about the communities that I grew up in and the communities that, I spent a lot of time in Houston and in Los Angeles. And they have, just community spaces where you don't necessarily have to be going for an event at nighttime, but you're going to get your favorite smoothie, and then you're, sitting in your, like you said, a co-working space. Or but it's the vibe, it's the environment, it's the, all of the above that kind of make the space ours. And I think about just some of the needs that we still need within this community, like a hair salon. We still need someone to come and be here full time that's doing hair. But maybe we have, rental salons where it's, if you're not here full time, but you come every March, and then we have somebody come every April or whatever. Those spaces, I think, are needed. I think that it's possible. I just think that it would take it's just going to take more than one person. It's going to take more than two people. It's going to take more than three people. It's just going to, our community is going to have to come together and really talk about what we need, what we want, what we would actively and consistently support. Because it is one thing to, I know we had, Jackie, when she started the collective, she had that, but it's about, consistency. It's about people who are willing to come together and really support it on a consistent basis, so that it's something that is going to actively continue to, give back, and have something that people are wanting to support also, and having the events and things that we want to see. Um, so yeah, I think that it's definitely possible. I think that it will happen. But I think we just have to get the right people together, to collaborate and to make it happen.
I agree 100%. And thank you for that little audio tip, because, girl, yes. It was
What
like
was it?
we all had to mute, and so she could talk, and it was crystal
Oh,
clear. And yeah, okay. Um, yeah, it's something that I know Jackie did, and I loved that idea. I know she had a few people who, rented space. What I love about Mexico in general and San Miguel is, it's something that can be done within a reasonable amount of money, and it does create, the opportunity exists easier. Of course, getting everyone together to be on the same page, I think would be probably the bigger challenge. But I do think that it's something that's needed, and it could, really be kind of a community space. I mean, that reminds me of what they had in the 70s and the 60s, where they had community spaces for people to come together, teach children. There were places for performance, music, poetry, whatever the case might be, educating us on things that we need to be educated on. And I think integrating a bit with the local community as well. Last Friday, I went to a community center that's a little bit outside of the city. And, I don't know who founded it, but they had like a group of women, and they were clearly like, counseling them in a way of just like maybe assisting them with work, business, and things like that. And then upstairs where we were, they were doing robotics with all the kids from the community. They made these little Lego robotic mixers. They made pancakes and waffles and stuff like that. So it was just a beautiful space that was very intentional. And something like that, I think, would be great, in addition to bringing, intentionally bringing what we have to bring to the community from our backgrounds and things like that, especially the music for me is huge, not just the singing aspect, but being able to go to a place and enjoy that, even if it's like 5 to 7, 5 to 9, on a Friday, some poetry or whatever. I really do miss that. And as Jackie said, as we are aging in this place, we would like to be able to still enjoy some of those things, because it's not here yet. So yeah, I love that. So, we've been here for a minute. I think in terms of like probably the last question overall is, what would you want people to walk away from in regards to just, as this grows, the experiences that we're creating for individuals overall to enjoy, like, I know people had a great time dancing, they enjoyed the music, but just what would you want them to really, hold on to and or talk about?
Well, what comes to mind for me is that they have a community, and that they can that they feel a sense of belonging, that they are not socially isolated in the community, that their culture matters. I do think I think the term branding is overused, but I do think that the festival helps to brand the Black and Afro community in a positive way in San Miguel. I yeah, I feel very appreciative of being here in Mexico and San Miguel. I feel like the festival is like a gift to the community as well, as sharing our collective culture and its vibrancy, its diversity, and sending a message: we are here, we are a positive force, um, we are not alone in the world. And I love the intergenerational aspect of it, seeing those kids and just people of all ages, because I don't know if others feel this way, but speaking for myself, given the challenges we face as a people, sometimes it can feel like the, there's so many stresses that we begin to focus on surviving as opposed to thriving. And so for me, it's no, we are thriving. We're doing more than surviving. And the next generation has things well in hand. There's opportunity for partnership and giving both ways. And so I hope people walk away with those emotions and those feelings, even if they're not articulating it. Even if it just says, "Oh, that felt real good. I want to do it again."
Yeah, I would want people to walk away. I think they did. I think people walked away just really feeling the love that we put into the festival. I think that people felt the community, people felt welcome, and I think that yeah, I think that people just received everything that was brought. And I think that everybody who stepped on that stage, everybody who was a vendor, everyone who even volunteered, everybody really just brought their all, and they gave their all, and they gave freely of themselves. And I think that it was felt by everybody that was there. And that's really, really what I wanted people to walk away with, is feeling the sense of community that we are, seeing the amazing talent that everyone possesses and brings. And yeah, feeling just feeling good, because like Jackie said, there's just a lot going on in the world. It's really heavy, and I think
Yep.
that was for everyone to really have a chance to really release, to feel joy, and to experience joy in a real way. And yeah, I think that it was just an amazing experience.
Absolutely. Brianna?
I would have to say the same. Yeah, I think people are surprised to realize the size of our community here. Um and so I think uh just having a physical event, that people can see it with their own eyes, feel it, it is something, because I think also when people move abroad, or away from their home for whatever reason, whether that's, you have a new job here, whatever the case is, whatever that brought you to San Miguel. um, and I think depending upon where you're from, me personally, I'm from Atlanta. I did not realize how unblack the world was until I left. I left. Like, I thought that was the norm. And it's not that it bothers me. Like, I'm very comfortable in multicultural settings, or, but I also don't realize just how much I miss being surrounded by my people and my culture in my everyday. Because as much as I intentionally do love to immerse myself in other cultures and learn and things like that, there are nuances about us that uh you miss being able to, just be able to say that, or say certain things without having to thoroughly explain it or whatever. And so I think being able to provide that space for our community here, while also educating others from outside of our community on what it is that our community encompasses. Um, I think that's just what I want people to take away, that like we're not here to create our own little America, as I've heard that is kind of a discourse right now, especially with people who are immigrants in countries now. We ourselves are immigrants in Mexico,
Yeah.
but we are trying to share our culture, because one, it is share our culture and educate on our culture, because it is the foundation of way more than the world would like you to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and there's just a lot that we can learn from each other. So I think that's really what I want people to walk away with.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, I am very grateful, one, that this event took place, that you all moved to San Miguel, all the things, and that our community in general has grown, continues to grow. I think staying conscious of how we integrate with the locals, keeping that always as part of our endeavors and things like that, how we can continue to bring what we bring to the table, but at the same time, not forget where we are in general. With all the drama that happened this week, it's like I find myself literally, a part of the verbal fight to say, like, this does not, dictate the entire country and things like that. And I realized, people are going to have their perceptions, they're going to have their viewpoints, and we're just here for the individuals that want to hear it, that want to be educated, and so I feel that that works on both sides. What we bring with our heritage, our ancestral, things that we know, how we are, how we sing, how we eat, how we, like Brianna said, how the nuances of the jokes and, things that we understand. It's just something that we're bringing into the space that we've been accepted into, because I say that Mexico accepts us. It's not like we've, forced ourselves in, but also at the same time, understanding as well their culture and their things. And I think the festival is a great way, and it was a great representation of this mix of, Afro, a lot of people, right? It wasn't just us from the United States as immigrants. It was, Afro-Mexican, Afro-Colombian, Afro other things. And I think that that's very important to point out, because I do think that we do make a pretty conscious effort collectively to try to learn the language, to try to be a part of the local things that are happening, the festivals, their not just the, I won't say so much the music, but probably more so the festivals and things that are happening in and around town throughout the year. I know a lot of us go out and support those types of things because to me they're very interesting, and I think that a lot of us are also interested in these things. So for me, it's not easy to enter into a whole different culture, as Brianna said. Coming from Atlanta, I grew up in Connecticut, so trust, I already knew what what that looked like in general. But I love being in Mexico because it really does have a good mix of things that are very new to me, and I'm still learning things after being here for 8 years. And so this is just one more thing for me that I'm grateful for. I am grateful that we are able to share, our heritage, our backgrounds as well with the locals, and also with the people that have been living here or that are new, not just our Black community, but just people that have been here for a while. And it was well received, and I'm grateful for that as well. I know sometimes, we are expected to kind of be more quiet about stepping in the room and speaking about our culture. But I don't think that that's something that we need to do, because everyone brings whatever it is that they're bringing to the place that they're living in. Whether it's Thai food, Italian food, Jamaican food, whatever it is, Greek, what's the Lebanese restaurant in town, all those different types of things, of course, the locals and, the foods that they already make, and also in different parts of the country. And those are heavily influenced as well by Afro heritage. So I think that when we educate ourselves in this way, that, we can be a community that accepts each other. So for me, it's a space that I'm very grateful to live in. I will continue to be grateful to live in. And as I said on my earlier videos this week, someone kind of pointed out, oh, you're just trying to convince people to move to Mexico. I have never tried to convince anyone to move to Mexico. I'm here to help you if you want to move to Mexico. I'm not here to twist the arm, right? So if you are interested in moving here, as all of us have moved here, there's information available to you. If you're not interested in Mexico, we're okay with that, right? But we definitely want to talk about our experiences and the ways that we experience them. And for me, it's been a beautiful journey, and I'm super, super grateful for that. And I'm super grateful to see these kind of events happening here. And I know that they're just going to get bigger and better. So please keep an eye out for all of the goodness. I'm going to link everyone's information in the description box, so that if you are looking for someone to manage your tour, contact Brianna. If you're looking for someone to put some really beautiful things together for you musically here, definitely reach out to Jackie and to Danielle. All of us are here to just continue to grow in the spaces that we are in Afrodega, Wise, Brianna's B Studio, right?
Studio collab.
B Studio collab. Okay. I'll put everything in the description box so you can kind of just see what we're doing individually, but also this is what was done collectively, and it was a beautiful thing. So thank you, ladies, so much for being here, spending so much time to talk about your future endeavors and also this event, which was absolutely amazing. I will also drop some links to the reels. I feel like that's one thing we kind of missed out on, is having like kind of someone who is really capturing. Yeah, we got a lot of little videos out there, but we need like a person.
A photographer and a videographer for sure.
Yeah. So, hey, if you want to come down and do that next year, feel free. Just saying. We still, like they said, we all need more help. We need more help. Anyway, thank you so much, ladies. I'm Michelle for Casa Elm and Hacienda Elm. I appreciate you. We're here in San Miguel. All of us live in San Miguel, just in case you missed that. So this isn't just an event that happened and then they left. We all live here. We love living here. It's been an amazing journey. And yes, if you're ever in town or you're moving to San Miguel, this is what you can get to experience. And we would love for you to add your talent as well. Peace.
Thanks, everybody.